begin. So this is where it gets interesting, folks. All right. Gemini, which, listen, I think it's the best of the AIs. It's
Oh,
just
really?
Google's in this innovator's dilemma where
Yeah.
they don't want to, kind of encroach upon their search. So they don't know what to do with it, really, but they have the best, in my opinion, AI out there. And they're trying to integrate it into Gmail. It's kind of horrible. They're trying to integrate it.
Right.
It's not horrible the output it does. It's horrible like how it's in the way. Uh,
It is.
and if
Yeah.
you think about Google, they have so many services besides search. So they like if you reduce their search traffic in half, I think if you make up for it in this Gemini and with YouTube and with Google Cloud services
Yeah, the
and
drive. Yeah.
Waymo. So they own Waymo now,
The heck is that?
the
Oh,
driverless
really?
taxi in all the cities.
Hmm.
So I think Google will be fine long term, but the point of this is I found myself using Gemini in order to get a summary of videos that I did not want to watch, but I still wanted to know what was in there. It's like super selfish. Like, I don't want to listen to this guy ramble for an hour because I don't particularly like the style. But there's important information in here. And in like a minute, it gave
Dude,
me
it's kind of funny because if it's like it's flipped because people went to video to get the recap,
to
and
get
now
away.
you're
Yeah.
go to get away from the blogs,
But the
the long,
philosophy is though, like,
interesting. Hmm.
because I'm a content creator, we're all content
Yeah.
creators, right? Chris probably less so, but he is too. He just doesn't have like his own brands anywhere besides this. I look at it now, like for my research stuff. Would somebody just not watch my 4 hour video but get a summary? I mean, I would. I would not watch my own video.
Yeah, but your average length isn't 4 hours.
They're like
But
15 minutes.
yeah, I would way rather watch a 15-minute video than read a page.
But here's the
Me.
thing. Here's the thing. For some people, I would rather watch the video. I would be like, you know what? I'm
Mm,
just gonna watch this person for 2 hours. I literally enjoy everything about them, or at least most things about them. I always find some entertainment in there, which I don't think you'll get out of a summary. I always
mm,
get some humor, which you won't get, and I get some information. Now,
yeah.
if you so I will still choose even having this technology to watch, or I will choose not to watch. And Chris is showing,
Who is this, Chris?
So
is this your
usually,
digital AI?
Is this after dark?
no. So
This is
this
before
is
dark.
this is junk mail I receive occasionally in my work email, and
Can you forward that?
I usually don't click on these Pinterest, but I found her quite attractive, so I clicked on it just to get a better view.
Oh, this is too good.
And notice she's got 666 tattooed on her chest. It's like, what the hell is wrong with this woman? I just found that kind of interesting.
Well, you do know people do things
Are
now
you making
too.
a joke? Chris, that is
It's like
hilarious.
she's beautiful, but she got 666 tattooed on her. You both agree she's beautiful, right?
Are
She all right.
She's all right.
No, she's a tranny. Is that what you're saying?
I mean, she very
No,
well might be an AI or
no,
But hold
no.
on. Those sixes are nines.
yeah,
Yeah,
it
depending on how
depends on
you're
how.
looking at them.
Yeah.
Like
Well, two
she's looking
comments
at them,
from
they're 666. If
two
she's looking
comments
at it,
from this, so I know we're all
Oh,
getting
this is
older.
too good. This is too
I
good.
have two takeaways from this. Chris won't like one of them. We're all getting older.
can you see my email?
Yes.
That's what I get, right? Usually I just delete it unless it's
No, you don't.
No, you
yes I
don't.
do. But I found her
Be
attractive. I
honest.
clicked on it for her specifically. But anyhow, go ahead.
Well, two takeaways from that. So number
Two
one,
take. I got a couple more.
one you won't like, and the other I think you will. We're all getting older, so it's not just you. But you are 10 years older than me, right? At least
11.
11, and probably 15 more than Joey. So the generations today don't give a fuck if girls have tattoos or not.
I didn't
That's
say that.
very,
That wasn't my concern. I
you're
think you're
dating
missing my
yourself on
concern.
that one.
No,
And
I'm
she's not even sleeved.
okay.
That's just like
Again,
right here. No, I
that
know,
has, it has
666.
nothing to do with tattoos, Dan. None. Zero.
Well, did you
And
not
it has to
mention the
do with
tattoo?
this. It has to do with the specific tattoo, 666.
Right. Sure.
No, not sure, sure, sure. You're shrugging it off. I said nothing about tattoos. It was that
Sure.
specific tattoo.
Okay, fair enough. Even that, in this culture of trying to get attention,
Mm.
that's not a taboo thing
Well, she's
anymore.
going out of
Six.
her way to make sure she goes to hell. That's all I can
Okay,
say.
the second takeaway, which you'll be neutral about, there's a 50% chance that's an AI generated woman. That's not
You think
even
so?
real. Yeah. They're already indistinguishable. There's people
Yeah.
making money side hustling fake AI girlfriends for people to chat with.
But back to
And
your
like they're making like 10 grand a month.
back to your tattoo. I do think there's an unreasonable amount of tattoos, like on your
Oh yeah,
face, on your
sleeves and
neck. No,
well,
sleeves are kind of, if you can cover it, it's fine. Like, for example, I never
I'm
knew.
dating myself too. I don't like tattoos on a woman, especially not sleeves and all
No,
that.
no, no. I just mean in general. If you have tattoo, if you can't cover them so you look professional, it's wrong to get that tattoo. At least in my
Mm.
opinion.
I'd rather have that 666 than the sleeves
Well,
on a
I,
girl.
I would never get either or date a
No,
girl
on
with
a girl.
either.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess.
Just a call for attention, cry for attention. That's actually, I mean, we can get very philosophical if you want or not. We can stay normal,
Yeah.
but the whichever way you guys want to go, I'm okay. But those are my two takeaways from that. But back to my original point. So Gemini, the way I'm like, okay, shoot, as a content creator, I gotta be careful because it's more than just the info you put out. It's about the presentation style, the delivery, the entertainment, the fun, because that does not translate into AI. Like to get that stuff, you have to watch. But to get purely extract the information out of it, you don't have to. So when there's people I want to watch, I'll just sit through it and not use AI. But when there's people I'm like, yeah, I don't like this person's style. I just want to, but he's smart. I just want to get the facts. Gemini comes in, but that person lost a view because I'm not watching, right? Like they lost a potential
Gemini's
subscriber.
watching.
Gemini's watching. Yeah, they lost a potential subscriber.
I think for the very long form content, yeah. But I guess for me, I mean, I guess everybody consumes their information a little, maybe a little bit differently. Like I normally watch 15, 20-minute videos, or less.
Hmm.
It's not that common. It's a little bit more rare that I'm like watching a full podcast of like Joe Rogan, the
Hmm.
2 hour stuff. I normally watch the clips of Joe Rogan or
I
Patrick
see.
Pat
I
David
see.
or Grant Cardone or whatever.
I
I'm not
see.
doing the hour-long thing. It's more of like they've already on their channel summarized. They basically have split up that hour-long podcast into like 8 different videos and they created, whatever topic that it is its own 20, 25-minute segment. Yeah, I guess if you only do very long-term content, that might be something to be concerned with. But
Yeah.
there is, there is, there are uh, uh, purposes for video content, even if it's a little bit longer. Because right, you're getting entertained, educational. It might be humor. It might, I guess that's still entertainment.
Right.
And then I don't have to like read anything. It's just like something that's being presented to me. I guess Audible does that. Can do that as well.
Yeah,
As far as
Audible
like it
can
does it
do.
to me, it's a little bit
I
more
mean, what do you think,
easier.
Chris? You listen to, from what I understand, long form like me, or you'll watch
It
long
depends.
form, no?
It depends. It depends on how captivating I find it. Once it starts to get boring or they're just rehashing the same content that they've already covered, I usually click off. But if they keep it new or innovative or information I'm interested in, yeah, I'll watch the whole thing. I
Could you
watched
guys
2, 3 hour podcasts.
Yeah, me too. Can you, if I enjoy the guest or the person,
Yeah.
Right.
could you guys see yourself using Gemini to extract stuff from a YouTube video? And
They can give me bullet points for sure.
yeah,
I don't
however you
like
want
the
to get it, you
essay
ask.
form, but
No, no,
if it's like
you ask,
or
and
like
it
a
gives
one
you.
paragraph summary of the main yeah, I would. I wouldn't do
Yeah.
it of like the form stuff, but like yeah, anything over 45 minutes or 30 minutes that I don't necessarily want to
Yeah. I
fully
think the short
watch.
form stuff, like it would take longer to write the prompt than to watch the whole thing. But
Right, right.
to like on a long video, if there's,
Yeah,
or especially if you're studying for something or
yeah, right.
you're
Yeah,
learning a new industry, I mean,
yeah.
we are becoming, these things are empowering us quite dramatically, and I don't think we really realize it. Like even from me now, from 3 years ago, I'm way more productive because of some of these tools.
Oh, dude, me too. I mean, I mean, it's made my life so much. I mean, it writes a lot of things for me or gives me a lot of ideas for
Hmm.
content, and I mean, it's really has made my life a lot easier in just what I do.
But what about you, Chris? You feel the same way about AI?
I really don't use it other than what Google automatically produces for you when you Google something.
Yeah, they're starting to embed the Gemini results in the top.
Yep.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
mean, eventually, no one's searching anymore. It's just AI in your pocket or on
yeah.
your computer.
I
I
mean, it
think
really,
search is kind of
I
over.
basically, I have that ChatGPT app on my phone, and so when I'm, I
Yeah,
net last 6 months or really last 3 months it's been the chat
yeah.
gpt.
I still think like Gemini is probably the best. ChatGPT is
Really?
probably the
Okay.
best all around, like most versatile from my experiences. And
Okay.
then Grok is very good too. Grok is getting good, but Grok is very good if you're on X and you want it to, same thing as a YouTube thing. If you want it to let you know, fact check something somebody said, or ask for a summary of like a long tweet, or even a video in the tweet that you don't want to watch, it will do a really good job. I think Grok is fairly good. These are probably the three better ones for my purposes. There's people that do coding and they like Claude, although ChatGPT just released a coding version. So I don't know. It's gonna be like four or five players, I think, running it, and then the long tail of everyone else when it's all said and done, in my opinion.
Hmm. Yeah.
Which I mean, it's made my life better in many ways. It's made my life better, much better than it's made it worse in these last,
Yeah.
I mean, in these
Yeah.
last, let's say 2.5 years since it really came out. And like
Chris, do you use
objectionably
AI?
better.
No.
Okay.
I mean, I do.
He don't like you.
No.
Indirectly.
Yeah. Well, not intentionally, but as I said, Google provides you AI results.
Yeah.
Got it.
Why
Okay.
are you Chris, what's the philosophy behind
Ooh.
being I know why, like it doesn't make sense to sometimes be like a first, what do they call it? First
What
Takers.
practicality does it offer me?
Cality.
I
So
mean, I
it's not
can give
gonna.
my
Do
examples,
you
but
write
Well,
anything?
it's not going to negotiate my budgets. Most of
right.
my emails are two sentences,
Ah,
unless I'm writing an email about a budget, and it can't do that. So
right.
It
what am I
actually
going to use
could,
it
but
for?
it will make it sound better than what you write.
I don't care what it sounds like, really. I mean,
So
what do
you're
you mean
not
it'll make it?
performative. You're not performative. You just, you know what? Bare bones, give me the here's what you need. There's no need for performance or any of this hoopla.
Well, if you mean performative by writing in a way that I would never write, sure. I don't care about
Yeah, or
that.
like maybe a more thoughtful way that would be more appealing
Oh,
to most people.
So I
do
actually
do
did.
you research at all?
I actually dislike AI emails when they come to me.
That's what I'm
I
trying
I
to get out of
I
Chris.
dislike
Now we
them.
got the
It's not
content.
it's not a
Dan, look
matter
at
because
you. You go through the back door and get
That's what she
well,
said.
backdoor
so
Dan.
I find it very similar to someone standing there texting on their phone as you're talking to them. I think it's very similar. I think
Well,
you're not worth their time
the
So you're
to
best
bringing
way,
morality. You're
to
bringing morality into this.
you're not worth my so if I'm sending you an email that I had AI write, often I'm saying I just
but
don't have
you
time
wouldn't
for you.
know.
But I
If
do
you're do
know. But I
if you're
do
doing it,
know you can
if
definitely tell
You
when an
can
AI
you
writes an
can tell.
email.
You can tell, especially if you know the
I don't,
person. If you know the person, you can
I,
tell. We have somebody that we
okay,
interact with
all
a
right.
lot
I would say
pre-COVID,
what
pre-AI,
even if
and
you don't know someone, 90% of the time you can tell because
I
90% of people,
disagree.
well, I did, yeah, I'm
I
saying
100%, I 100%
90% of
disagree.
people,
No,
90% of people don't write like
uh,
that.
I kind of side with
no,
Chris on this
no.
one.
I don't agree with
90%,
that. Now,
10% of the time I would be wrong
the
to assume it's AI. 10% of the
no,
time.
no.
This is what I
Yeah.
wanted out of this pod.
The
Let's
now I
go.
do agree. Like when you research, when I'm researching a topic, like yeah, that there is like it's AI is very easy to detect. If I like, hey, tell me 10 reasons why I shouldn't buy a house in today's market, and then like that's very. But I've used a ChatGPT to like I'll write an email
Yeah,
if it's to a client and if it's an important, I don't do this every single day, um, and then I'll write what I want to write, but then I'll say, rewrite this
yeah,
email,
it
and then
rewrites it.
right, and then it'll give me like 10 different variations, and it doesn't. I mean, it writes it better than what I would do.
Yeah,
So, but if you are like a new, if I guess if you didn't really know me you would not be able to tell that a machine wrote that. I mean, to me, it looks like my wife would have written it.
right. There's people who
That
can
that's
write to
that's
that
what I'm
degree.
saying
So,
that you wouldn't know
But
if
yeah,
it's AI. Do you see
so
what I'm
what?
saying?
I
So
agree
this,
with Chris. You can tell most of the time, but it's gonna be less. Everyone's gonna start doing it. So there's a question of, is it now professional to use the latest tools in your work, or does the
A
fact that
hundred
you don't
percent.
use them
Yeah.
show the lack of professionalism?
If you're a new client, you would have known that ChatGPT rewrote it in a more professional way. You guys would not be able to tell. If I straight up copied and paste like textual information, yes. But if I'm
Yeah,
rewriting just a normal email that I'm not like researching 10 different topics,
right.
you would not be able to tell.
So
It
when is
would
the flipping point though, Chris? Because I kind of agree with both of you, which
well,
is not
well,
uncommon for me,
well,
but I get it. I hate when I kind of roll my eyes when I get someone's email. I'm like, yeah, I know they wrote it, but then I do the same thing.
got it.
So it's like, yeah, the pros is worth the cons, outweighs the cons.
so
But I do think in a few years, everyone's using it. If you don't use it, you look like a Luddite, or maybe you can say, well, I look more human. But if everyone expects, like, technology is supposed to raise the bar, right? We're
For
supposed to
sure.
be even more professional than we can be on our own by using tools. So by not using tools, you are making a statement that I don't care about being professional, right?
okay, well, before we even tackle that, so
It's a lot.
Joey, what you're describing it, it sounds like this is actually taking you longer to write an email, right? Because you're writing it.
No,
Well, you just said, well, how's it not? You're writing it, then
I
you
can
put
tell
it
you.
through well, let me lay out the scenario you stated. You write the email, you run it through AI, it gives you 10 versions, and you pick the best one. I don't see how that's any quicker than just writing it yourself.
Oh, yeah. No, well, I can tell you because now I don't use this for everyday one sentence emails.
Yeah.
That it's emails that it might be a little bit sensitive information and where I might need to reflect on like reread my email. It takes me a little bit. I'm slow to read and slow to write. And so there are some emails where you're just not going like
Yeah.
that. Like you need to reflect on how am I going to communicate this over to the next person. And so in my case, I mean, there's been a handful of times when I was like, I don't know exactly I'll spit out something. I'll give the chat GPT
That's what she
something that
said.
yeah, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. And then, yeah, ChatGPT writes it better than me.
Yeah.
It might give me another idea of what to say.
I
And
agree
so
with
I
Joey.
can come to the conclusion faster. I mean,
Yeah.
period. Now, every email does not need to be written that way, but I probably like at least once a week. There's like something where I need to write something that takes some thoughtful time. And ChatGPT just makes it, I mean, I probably cuts it down by 30% to me, and it's
Yeah,
written
yeah.
way better and more professional
It is.
than I
You do
could
have to be
do.
careful. I agree with Joey. Like you can write, I have a Spark AI email. So you can write a draft. I didn't even get it for this purpose. I got it to organize my emails better, and it has helped me with that because my inbox was a disaster before this, and now it's somewhat manageable. But the AI is a nice feature because it's included in it. So now I use it every now and then. You can just reply with three different sentiments. Reply thanks, reply no thanks, or
Oh,
reply
right,
neutral, and
right,
then it will like generate something. So I use that feature a lot, but before I insert it, I do look through it. But if you're not careful, this thing is not the smartest yet.
right.
It will sign my name as if I'm the recipient. So it'll say best regards,
Oh,
Grecia, because it's not like fully there yet. It's kind of dumb.
got it.
But the words are great. So you just
I
have to
see.
like watch those little things.
Okay.
But Chris, it is faster this way, and it's not used for every email. But it is used
Yeah.
like
Oh, not for
when you're
every email.
replying to a client or like a potential client and you don't
Yeah.
want to come off as a dick. I actually use
Right.
this a lot for our business.
Exactly. No, me,
When
yeah, me
a
too.
potential client emails me, hey, I love your
Right.
videos, they
Yes,
like
I
pour their heart out, right? They
sure.
pour their heart out.
I'm gonna
I'm
write you an
sitting there on
email.
the toilet. Well, look, here's my perspective. They just wrote three paragraphs pouring out their heart. They want to start a site, blah, blah, blah. I'm reading back, cool, let's schedule a call. That's what I want to write. I write that and I say make it more friendly. And then it will do
Nice.
it. And then I
A little
just
bit
make sure it
longer.
doesn't, yeah. And
Yeah,
like,
but
it
I do,
seems like I'm acknowledging them and not just being a dick, like, cool, let's do a
Like
call.
I'm
K
glad you brought
noted.
that up. I'm glad you brought that up because I actually, oftentimes it's fine, but sometimes it's not. That email response that it provides because sometimes the AI dictates your email, it makes it so I can't schedule a meeting because of what you said, right?
I
It
know.
doesn't leave it. It
Yeah.
doesn't leave it open ended.
I know. I've been manually putting that when I put, like, I have CC'd Chris here. It doesn't get that yet. I think in a year it learns how many times I correct it to start doing it on its own.
All
I'm
right.
like
Yeah, but
training it
even if it
still.
does 90% of the email, that's to me,
Yeah.
that's still better. Like, and oftentimes, like I'll have it do like the meat and potatoes, and then at the end, like I'll just in my email, if it's some sort of like calendar thing or scheduled thing, I just take that. But yeah, I mean, to me, it's quicker. Yes, there are times that I can tell that there's emails where the guy that just literally just copied and pasted something and put it in from ChatGPT. But I would say, Chris, you're probably receiving a lot more emails that have been, at least 70 or 80% influenced by ChatGPT, and you couldn't probably tell.
Yeah. And in the future, less so, because if
Not all
everyone
of
uses
them,
it,
not all of them,
if
but
everyone
there's a
uses
lot of
it,
normal emails that are people that there's a lot of normal emails that I'm writing that like I reread it, so I know like there is a difference between a woman, right? Okay, here we
oh,
go.
great. We're doing these again?
A lady write an email and a man, right? So like you can kind of tell, I'm not picking a girly one. But
Hey, you
if
just
if
offended
anything
half
with
of our audience.
research, like if it's researching a topic, you're done. Like I know that it's ChatGPT. But back to
So
women.
there's the whole aspect, there's the whole morality aspect to this as well, which I think is what Chris's main
Okay,
argument is. So there's two
tell
things.
me about it.
There's sophistication in using the best tools that's out there, which is reflective of. So here's the bull case for using these tools. It demonstrates sophistication. It reflects that you use all tools at your disposal to be more professional and that you are not afraid of using latest things to improve your business, right? That's the bull case. The bear case of this is it demonstrates you're lazy, it's
Yeah.
inauthentic, and you're working towards making AI better. It becomes idealistic
You're
later.
missing one.
What's the other one?
Yeah, what?
It also leaves especially when you know it's AI, it questions, well, what are you really like? Can you write a reasonable sentence,
No.
or are you
No.
illiterate? I mean, it
Yes.
does leave that open because we've had many students that I know can't write and they use the AI and it's it's night and day, right?
Yeah,
But
it fixes
there's
the
just
problem.
it's no way they can write like that.
But if AI
And
is a tool in every, like, do
Yeah,
you
who
even need to know how to
cares?
write anymore?
Yeah.
isn't that a problem too?
I don't think it is anymore. I think this stuff kind of fixes that.
Yeah.
I don't know
Mhm.
how to type fast, so that's why I do it. Like, and
No,
most of
no,
the time
Dan,
I'm on
I'm
my
not.
phone.
So I'm not saying you. What
No,
I'm
no, I know
saying
you're not
though,
saying me. I'm not taking it personally. I'm just saying why I'm
You
using it.
should.
I know why you're using it. It's for speed, but
Yeah.
more my point is, I think it's not that it's disingenuous. It's just that
You
it's
could make that argument.
it's
Yeah,
giving
yeah,
you a perspective of a person that may not be reality.
which is disingenuous.
Yeah, but there's also spell check. I mean, to me, it's like
Yeah,
there's a
No, spell check's entirely different, in my
why?
opinion.
not
Because
necessarily.
yeah,
When it
It's
first came out,
different.
people are
if
like,
you
"Oh, this
spell
Right,
person doesn't
same
know how to
shit.
spell."
if
That's
you
right.
spell weird like wired, it just corrects it for you. It's a mistake you made and it caught. But this is
Yeah, but
more than a
there's
mistake.
three
That
different theirs.
sure, sure, but
Two different twos.
Uh,
Actually, three different.
And spell check
Two
didn't
different.
always exist, so I'm sure the people back then were like,
Yeah.
"Man, we had to work hard to learn how to spell
Yeah.
properly, and now no one
But
has to
Chris, I
do
do
it
agree.
anymore."
ChatGPT is 10 times it's the cocaine or the steroids of that.
it
But
it
but
hides
yeah, you can
inefficiencies.
for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but
Yeah,
isn't
no, it
that the
definitely
purpose of
does.
all of tech?
Mm,
Yeah. Right. I mean,
well,
people said that about the internet, I bet.
I think at the philosophical advantage of tech is
Before
exactly that.
DocuSign, I had to meet clients in person to which there are some benefits of that. It's more
well,
client
Yeah,
interaction.
yeah.
I guess to demonstrate what you're stating is I used to give potential clients three criteria when they would ask, what's three criteria that you would recommend we look for in a potential coordinator?
Hmm.
And I would tell them that they should be one of the criteria. I won't tell you the other two, but one of the criteria was that they can write a decent sentence because everything in research has to be written.
Yeah.
I don't tell them that anymore because of
Right.
Because
this.
this, yeah.
But at the same time, I still think it's probably a good idea that they can write a sentence.
Yeah, and you're not
Well,
right,
push
or
comes
you're
to
not wrong,
shove,
excuse
yeah,
me.
you'll
Yeah,
take that.
they should. Yeah.
But they can use AI to correct their horrible
Yeah.
grammar or whatever else
Yes.
they have going on.
Yeah.
So
But
we
I
can
mean,
all go work in
but I
another
think
country.
Chris, uh one
Yeah,
thing
potentially. You could, Dan. Sorry, Joey.
oh no, you could. Actually, Dan, why don't you go work in another country and let us know how that goes?
The only country I would consider, there's
Is
two.
Russia. Yeah.
No, hell no. It'd be Romania and Mexico, I
There
think.
we go.
I
There we
think I
go.
can swing it. Oh, Spain is nice too, so I'd do Spain also. Though
Yeah.
lately they've had some issues.
But Chris, so you don't write long a lot of long sentences. So it might not be like the most ideal for you, but I think where if you don't necessarily use ChatGPT, but like researching topics, that's it actually it gets you to the end point and with more information
Yeah,
quicker. So instead of like I stopped going to Google, not like cold turkey, but like if I'm like trying to research something, I now like I'm probing ChatGPT, go find it versus me like going down and clicking it, and then it's giving me like the pros and cons of
yeah.
whatever, you know. So I like it for that. I think you could get some benefit and use out of it if you're if you're open to something
I
like
think
that.
Chris
But
is, if he's open to feedback, I think there's nothing wrong with not using it.
oh, for sure, yeah.
I think it's actually could be end up being kind of cool in like a contrarian kind of way in 10 years. I do think it would
To
help
not
on the
use it,
to not
yeah,
use it. Yeah, like in a hipster kind of way. But
yeah.
I do think there's a performative aspect that is missing from both of our approaches to people interacting with people just because of the volume that we get. That sometimes we cut to the point and it could offend 10% of the people. And then if you eliminate that completely, um, by using these tools. But I guess you can argue that you'll offend 10% if you do use it, which I don't think so anymore.
I just think like so much more of our communication is like face to face, whether it's what we're doing right now
Yeah.
or like or over the phone or like written is like I feel like every year written like the actual written communication is going down less and less and
But
less, you
books,
know?
but ironically enough, books are getting published record pace because of
Is that
AI.
is that right?
I'm working
Okay.
on one right now. I'm using
I
AI,
mean, I guess
I
I'm
mean,
reading
heavily.
way more or listening to way more books than but I'm listening to them, not reading them. So
Yeah.
because of Audible, I'm going through like 50 or 60 a year. So I
Do
would
you
have never
listen?
would
Do
have.
you retain? Well, we all listen to Audible here, so I can ask everyone. Do you retain better reading or listening the
Re
information?
reading.
Me
For
too.
me, 100 times listening, a
You
hundred
retain
times,
it better?
100 times.
Wow, you might be
Yeah,
one of the anomalies, man. Because
yeah.
I
I know that's not common.
I
Yeah,
have
but
to rewind when I'm on Audible, man. I'm hitting that
yeah, not
rewind
me.
button because I get so distracted.
Hmm.
But when I'm
Interesting.
reading, I don't really get distracted unless
The
like
rest of
as
the world's
easily.
gone. The rest of the world's gone when I
More or
read.
less. Like I'll end up daydreaming too, but I can just go back. But it happens way less frequently.
Yeah, it's the other way
Interesting.
around with
Yep.
Audible.
Yep.
It's like okay, I haven't actually been listening the last 2 minutes. I need to
Yeah, I need to
rewind.
hit that rewind button because I
Yeah,
didn't hear shit really.
yeah.
I think 90 or 80% of people are like you guys, where the reading is far more superior. But like, yeah, I mean, I am so much more cognizant when I'm listening to it. I don't know why that is. It's just it,
Even when
you
you're
know, it.
driving or like
Yeah,
So,
multitasking.
100%. Especially when
I,
I'm driving. When I'm
Wow.
driving, it's even better.
so
Man,
Driving,
I
or if I'm
pay
walking or
attention on
doing
the
the
road,
dishes.
Joey. Damn.
I have a reason why that might be because I think Dan and I both do the same thing. I often listen to YouTube for white noise. It's not that I'm listening to it per se.
It's
Uh,
racist.
It's
that
just
is
on.
racist.
It's just on because I don't like quiet, right?
Yeah.
So when I'm working, I have it on
Got
and
it.
but I'm only half listening to it at best.
Mm,
So it's like we've been trained to do that with things that,
yeah.
maybe you don't do that, Joey. Maybe you truly watch a YouTube video.
So for the most part, yes, I truly watch it. There definitely are times when it's in the background, but it's content that I don't really care too much to retain all of it. But
Exactly.
for
Yeah.
whatever reason, with Audible, like yeah, I'm basically all in.
Wow. That's
Yeah,
hard to do. I mean,
and
when I
I
have
for
been
sure, if
all
I
in,
read a book or listened to it, I will get 3, 4 times more retained
Hmm.
information if I listen to it. I don't know why. Just how God made
you
me.
know what's crazy? When
Back
am
to
all
God.
in, back to, nah, I don't know about we're doing those. We can. When I've been all in, the rare times I've been all in on an Audible, like just in a moment driving, I've missed my exits. Like I
I
can't
have done that
be,
too.
I
Yeah.
can't be both. If I'm all
Yeah.
in,
Yeah.
I'm like less focused on where I'm going
Right.
because I'm focused on like
Hmm.
I've missed so many
Car
exits.
accidents due to Audible.
No, not accidents. I'm able
No,
to
but that's a
avoid those.
possibility if you're
Missed
truly
exits.
all in. Maybe you
No,
missed
because like
something.
stopping is more visceral than like, oh, I gotta exit here. It's like more
No,
reactionary.
I agree.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
agree. But at the same time, if you could potentially get that far into it, you may
Sure,
not
I'm
be paying
sure
attention to the
you
road.
could listen to somebody hypnotizing people on Audible and fall asleep, I guess.
Well, I don't mean like that per se,
No,
but
I know, I get
but
it.
I've literally been in a car accident. I was doing nothing but driving, but I was on autopilot because I was so deep into thought about certain topics.
Mhm.
I
Right.
got into a
So
car
it could
accident
happen with your
because
own
of it.
head too in
Yeah.
that case. So,
Yeah.
That's what I'm
No, Chris,
saying.
yeah.
I haven't gotten in a car accident, but I've come close to
Wow.
getting into an
Do you blame
accident.
Audible on those or?
It wasn't audible, but I was like thinking about something. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
and I literally got
yeah.
in a car accident that
Yeah.
way.
Yeah.
So then I
Isn't
Everybody
that
says I was
crazy?
Everybody said I was texting. I was not texting. Your phone was on the seat next
I
to me.
was just drinking alcohol. Okay.
Yeah,
It's like, what's the
right.
word?
I was taking a toke on the bong
I
and
speared
having a
my
beer.
beer.
I
Yeah.
was looking at my inbox with those Pinterest people with the 666 on them.
Oh, dang. That's funny. Oh, that is funny. At
Uh,
first, I thought Chris like accidentally clicked screen share.
No, that was intentional.
It was.
So I might buy a Tesla.
Oh,
Speaking
nice.
of not having to worry about driving, yeah, you could just hit.
My car died. I was
Which one?
driving my black Honda Pilot.
Do you still have that
I
Lexus?
no, I got rid of Betty.
What?
Yeah, Betty's gone.
You should have kept that
Um,
bad
I
boy.
know, I know. I actually sold that and then bought my 2017 Honda Pilot in so I went Jewish, so I got something not super fancy.
Was that the one that broke
Um,
down?
that's the one that broke down. I just hit 100,000
Ah,
miles. And actually, Chris, I want to talk to you later about Carvana. But
sponsored
I
by Carvana.
and so I basically I need to replace the engine. So
Wow.
yeah, so I'm fixing it and then I think I'm just gonna sell it and then I'll be able to break even
You should
once
fix
I
it in
fix it.
Yuma. My nephew works at Yuma Honda here. He's their
Ah,
mechanic.
damn it. But anyway, so that was that. So but I rented a Tesla Model Y for the I just got yesterday for this week just to check it
Is that
out.
the SUV one?
It's a small SUV one. It's smaller than a Honda Pilot. So I'm like, ah man, this is smaller.
Uh,
Don't know if I like it.
nah, you
But
should go with the Cybertruck, bro.
oh jeez, real douchebag vibes.
No, I think you
That
just can't go
that
shiny.
says I'm a real G.
I mean, I think there. If I had to go
I'm
Tesla,
a real G.
if I didn't have a
Uh,
truck and I had to go Tesla, I'd clearly
it's
go
bullet
for.
resistant. I do like that.
Yeah, I like
Yeah,
that too.
Yeah, I
yeah.
mean
In the
that's
end of
pretty
the world
cool.
scenario, you're set.
Yeah, but they're expensive. So, but the Y
Where are they going for
or
now?
a used X is oh crispy gone.
Cybertruck expensive
You
now?
guys, I'm dropping my pants. You don't want to see that.
Oh,
Oh, thanks, man.
so why don't
Listen,
you screen share real quick?
put that email away, man.
I'm
Watch we
giving my, I
watch.
have, hey,
We
I'm
see
giving myself a
666.
shot.
What are you,
I'm,
Darshan Carney? Like,
I'm giving
can you
myself a
just
shot. Is why I'm
refrain
doing
from
that.
the computer for 1 hour on
Oh,
this
hold
pod?
my beer.
Well, if you want me to show you what I'm doing, I got a syringe on my leg right now.
I
Do you
think
want to
we'll
see
be
that?
okay. No, we'd rather
What are
not.
you, Chris?
Okay.
Wait, what are you doing? Are you diabetic?
Yeah, I'm type 1.
Are you serious?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I did not know that.
yeah.
Wow, how long has that been?
40 years almost.
Dang. Okay, so you were so got it. So you were dang young. Holy cow. So
There
you've
he
been having
is.
to do this for 40 years.
Yep.
Once
Hey,
a day?
but this is a good technology discussion because you've only recently gotten the
CGM.
CGM, right?
Yeah.
Is it the
Oh, what?
implantable one or the one you have to get put on like every 2 weeks?
It's every 2 weeks. It's not, there's only one that I'm aware of that's an implantable that lasts a year.
Oh,
And
wow.
it's super expensive. It's like
Oh.
$50,000 or some crazy
Oh,
thing.
So then
jeez.
the regular ones is fine.
Yeah.
But you
Much
finally
cheaper.
come around. See, technology, man.
But not finally. I've been using it for about a year now, maybe
Okay,
a little
but
longer.
What were you
these were
doing
out for
before?
like 8 years.
Blood blood sticks where you poke your finger and get blood and put it on a strip.
And so then you test your level. Is that what that was for?
So yeah, you have to know what your blood sugar's at. Like I don't know if you just heard my alarm go off. That was the
No.
CGM telling me my blood sugar is going high, so I had to give myself a shot.
I see.
I see. I see. Okay.
I've worn those CGM just to fuck around and find out, like Chris's shirt says.
Yeah,
Popped his in
very
and did
nice.
that.
Well, I knew what took me over and what took me under. But yeah, I'm not diabetic, but I was wearing those Libra 2s for a while. I've been rocking them for like a year at one point. But yeah, so you got into tech because of your condition, and it's clearly better than poking your finger, no?
Yeah, now I'm looking at thinking about getting a pump, so we'll see.
So do you think that analogy can be applied to using AI?
Dan. Poking the bear.
So I think those are kind of apples to oranges a little bit. I mean, yeah,
Maybe.
they're both tech, but they're for two different scenarios, right?
Yeah, but the philosophy is not that different.
Nah, I guess really it just boils down to is it a benefit? Is it a benefit to you and is it a benefit to your customers in terms of AI? Um,
Right. And which one, if those are at odds, which one is more valuable to you? And then if those ones are
benefit
not
to
at
you and
odds,
benefit to your customers? Well, I would hope you would choose benefit to your customers. And the reason is obviously that's you're dependent upon them as customers for revenue.
Right. But there's people that do make those judgment calls even despite
Sure,
it being against their
sure.
customers. I think in our case, it's, if anything, neutral to our customers. And
I would agree. It's neutral.
I do think it will come a point where if you're not using it, it's negative to our customers because they would think, oh, they can't even afford AI or they're not even,
Um, that could be true because I often in the past have thought when I'm scanning documents, it's like contracts,
yeah,
and you could tell it's a scan. It's like what these people can't even afford Adobe Sign or something or
right.
DocuSign.
DocuSign, yeah, yeah.
I used to think that all the time. So finally, I told you that we're just going to get this, just
You
because.
getting DocuSign?
No, I already got it. The Adobe Sign, not the.
Oh, Adobe, okay, yeah. We have the Adobe Premium for Yuma Clinical Trials
Yeah,
too.
same thing.
Okay,
But I didn't get that for years when I would think for years
yeah,
this is not a good look if we're
Right.
supposed to be a professional service and I'm giving them
right. It's
half-assed
similar.
scans, right?
Similar. I'm glad this
Same concept.
conversation went down this path. We always end up with philosophy. You guys want to end it with God or anything?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
He is the Alpha and Omega after all.
The alpha and
The
the omega.
beginning and the ending.
Well, really, there is no ending if you think
I don't
about
think
it.
there is an ending. I was reading,
Well, I'm speaking specifically from a Christian viewpoint. There is no
so you want to
ending.
get into
Right.
some
You're
deep
right.
shit I got into this, I think it was last week, but we could
Chris is
carry it
right.
over.
But yeah, let's do it. Carry it over.
I went on a deep dive with ChatGPT after I was reading one of these books, one of these philosophy books, and I just went. That's the thing about philosophy is like you, if that's another AI benefit, you have a reading companion. Like especially these deeper books that like you can't really understand that well. You take a picture of the book open, both pages shown. Explain this to me like I'm in high school. It shows it to you, and then you kind of can poke on like different topics. Oh, well, let's explain that, and it will actually ask you, do you want to go further on this particular topic? So I did this with ChatGPT for like 40 minutes last week, and it got to what came first, consciousness or like what's the universe? Like what's the base like function of the universe? Like what's the base ingredient? Basically, what is God? And it came up with God is meaning. Before anything could possibly exist, meaning was always there. And it's hard to really even imagine what that means, but meaning then created everything else, which would not be incongruent with the Bible if God is the meaning. So that was some deep shit for me to ponder last week, but I'll carry it over into this week for the pod.
So kind of
Meaning.
kind of in the same ballpark. I had a conversation with one of our colleagues this weekend when I was in San Diego, and you'll know who
Monica.
I'm referring. No, don't say their name. I don't want to say their name. But
Oh, okay.
no, it's
Judy?
Their
not.
social
No,
security
oh,
number
well, what
is.
are you doing that for? I just said don't say their name.
Okay, Ashley. Now I'm just distracting people
No,
so they
now I
won't know
can't.
who.
Now I can't discuss what I was going to discuss.
You
So
can discuss it. I just named all of them, so nobody's gonna know who you're
I
talking
don't
about.
want to throw her out there on blast. So
They don't watch.
okay, well, so one of our colleagues,
Sure.
one of those three, I guess.
Katrina. It could be the fourth too.
So, Dan. So, we were discussing God and religion, right, at
Dude.
Okay.
dinner, and
Oh yeah, this Katrina for sure.
so one of them is not religious. So I asked her, "Are you atheist?"
Mm.
And she says, "No, I'm not an atheist." And I said, "So you believe in
Interesting.
God?" I said, "You believe in God?" And she says, "No, I don't believe in God." And I said,
Hmm.
"Well, can you clarify that?" And
Yeah.
it's very funny because, she didn't expect this, but I firmly believe this. I believe atheism is a religion. I also obviously
Yes.
believe all other
Yes.
religions are religions, whether that be Buddhism or Catholicism or
Wokeism,
whatever.
even
Yeah,
wokeism.
that's kind of a religion too, but
Yeah,
in a
yeah.
different sense.
Mm.
Um, these are more in terms of God, right? these religions.
Sure.
Wokeism's a little different. That's kind of their God, but yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
But no, I said, so after she described her position, I said, so you're the least religious of them all. You're agnostic. You believe in nothing, right? You just need proof to believe, which is true.
That's
She's just
almost atheism, isn't it?
no. Atheism is a
Just doesn't believe in God.
denies there's a God. It's not that
Got
they
it.
don't believe in God. They say there is absolutely no God,
Right.
which is a
But they
religion.
also believe in nothing.
Mm, What do you mean by nothing? Define that.
Well, that's I mean I don't really care to die on a horse over this, but how I understand that, I mean, from what you just said, she doesn't believe in anything. Oh,
That's
that's
Yeah,
basically
that's
eighth.
agnostic. That's agnostic, not atheist. So atheists,
Why?
that's why it's a religion to be atheist, because you fundamentally cannot be convinced that there's a God. So in order to do that, being that the universe was created from nothing, that has to be a religious belief to say, well, God didn't create that; it just became, right? So there was
Mm-hmm.
nothing here prior to God. There was
Correct.
nothing, zero. There was no space, there was no time, there was no matter, right?
Correct.
And so their belief system says, well, it just happened, but it wasn't God. That's a religion, right? Just like it's a religion to say God created that. Okay. To be agnostic, to say, well, neither is the case.
Yeah, how
Need
does
more
that make
proof.
sense?
I need more proof
Wait, so
that
she is
So
what?
so agnostic just
Atheist?
means they
they have
they
no
don't
belief.
have enough, well,
They have no
or
belief. They need more
maybe the
proof
better, exactly. The
So
better term
agnostic
is
is open to the possibility.
of
It's
they
not
just
a
anything.
closed
haven't
door.
of
Right. They're
anything.
open to either religion, atheism,
Whereas an
or
atheist is a closed
But that's not
door. I
nothing.
already know
Yeah,
the
I don't think
answer. I
nothing
think
would
the
be the
atheists
best.
are ridiculous in that case because you
Yeah.
cannot close the door to the unknown.
exactly. And that's what an agnostic is. There's too much unknown for me to say whether there's a God or not.
That's more
Right.
acceptable than atheist.
No, I would
Yeah.
agree. I would agree.
Yeah.
But
Well,
I
I
just
don't
thought
think
it
But
was
that
wild.
it,
agnostic, but Chris, it sounds like agnostic, it's not that they don't believe in nothing. They just don't have enough evidence to
yes.
believe in which way.
Well, it's not, you're right. It's not that they don't believe in anything, but they have no belief because there's not enough
Yeah.
information or proof
Yeah. Yeah.
or
But they believe
whatnot.
in the possibility that they are wrong, at
Either
least.
could be true.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
believe in the
But to
possibility
me,
they are wrong.
atheists believe in nothing. Nothing.
Well, so you're associating God with nothing. It's not that they don't believe in anything, you just don't believe in God.
But they believe nothing created everything, is what I'm saying.
That's
Well, yeah, no,
wild.
Right.
yeah.
I
Well,
don't
They
know
believe
how
that's
in
that's
what,
nothing.
possible.
and that's why I'm equating that to a religion. That has to be a religious
Yes.
belief. You can't say
Yeah,
nothing. You can't
I
say
know.
something came from nothing.
I don't think
Right.
that's accurate,
No,
though. If you took an atheist on this show right now, they would
let's
say,
do
no,
it.
that's not exactly
I think they would.
what I believe. I don't see
Yeah, I
how they
think so
can
too.
come with that
I dated a
conclusion.
woman for 2 years that was atheist.
So they think that everything's here. How?
I had that argument with her over and over again. Explain to me how something comes from nothing.
Well, and they also believe like there's no meaning to life. Like it's just nothing. You just die and just nothing happens. No,
Right.
they literally believe
Right.
that nothing happens when you die. Nothing. So nothing created everything, and then
Hmm.
nothing happens when you die.
Well, the ancient Greeks, like the traditional Greeks, believed in reason, the logos, meaning, which is God. And before
Hmm.
that there was nothing. It was just meaning. And God, if you equate God to meaning, God created consciousness because he wanted to observe himself. He had no way to experience himself, so he needed us to experience himself for him. And that's congruent with all the religions. But
I don't know if the Chris is that. What do you say to that? Because how I think what I would say is I think that God created us because he's a relational God. So I guess that
yeah,
could
that's
go
what it is.
along what
He
you
needed
had
an
said.
observer. Even God himself cannot observe himself. He needs us to observe him because the one thing
Hmm.
about being human is subjective experience. That's the one unique thing about humans and consciousness is the ability to have a subjective experience. Meaning, if I look at this can, I see it in my own way, then you do, then everyone
The
sees it
only
their
thing I
own way.
disagree with what you said, Dan, is that I don't. God didn't need us to feel praised because he was already like he doesn't need humans to give him praise, right? He was already 100% magnified
Omnipotent.
it in himself. So he without lack, without need. So if anything, creating us was a toll
Mm.
in a sense, you know. So that's why I think I would go back to God created us because He's a relational God, and He wanted to be in relation with us. He didn't need us. He doesn't need my money. He doesn't need my
But he
praise.
wanted us to experience him
Yeah, the only way I just don't like it that it
like
sounds.
he's needy.
Yes, and I don't necessarily like that, but I don't know, Chris, what do you think? I said a
Yeah.
lot.
Um, I don't know if I have any belief in that regard.
Oh,
I
okay.
wonder all the time why God created us. I know from a Christian viewpoint that we were created in his image. So I assume very similar in how he experiences things, right? I mean, God gets angry, says that many times in the Old Testament. Um,
That's right.
he's also a jealous God, says that as well. So the emotions that he
That's a negative
experiences,
virtue.
the emotions that he experiences, he gave us as well. Um, but where it gets a little confusing in my thought process is, well, lust is a sin, so is God lustful? And if so, he's not a perfect God, right? But yet he provided us with lust. So things like that are things I question.
Wait, back Chris, could you say that one more time? So how did
Audible
you
rewind button.
yeah.
Yeah.
Can you summarize this in the three bullet points? How did you correlate anger and jealous to lust? Give me that.
So again, he created emotions. He created us similar, right? In his
In
image.
his image.
So the emotions we experience, he experiences, or vice versa, I assume, right?
I don't know if I would say that, but okay, I'm listening.
Well, he makes declarations, or the Bible makes declarations of anger, jealousy,
We probably
and
experienced some
others.
of it. Yeah. Some of the
So
potential.
why give us lustfulness unless he experiences that as well, or other similar emotions that are sinful?
Hmm.
So yeah, okay, maybe this is a conversation for another time. But I see what you're saying. I just don't think that. Um, so yeah, I mean, the Bible talks about like righteous anger, like Jesus with the tax collectors flipping up that. I wouldn't necessarily call that like wrong. Now,
No, I didn't. That's what I'm saying, Joey. He experiences emotions that he says are not wrong,
right,
jealousy and anger.
but let me finish.
Mhm.
Um, so there, I think that there, in my opinion, there's a, and then I can end on this because you know that we probably could talk about this for a while. I
Sure.
think there's a difference between um, anger in the sense of like convicting somebody, you know, like like Jesus flipped over the tax collector's table, versus Jesus knocking them all out and shooting them or
Well,
stabbing a
I,
sword
I'm
through.
not. So I'm not referring to Jesus. I'm
Oh,
referring to the
oh, was it?
creator of all.
Okay, well, again,
Yahweh. Yahweh.
so to me there's a difference between like, you know, it doesn't say all anger is, um, and Jesus is God in human form. That's what Christians believe. So they are one and the same. And the Bible also talks about when one of the Trinity um, like acts, all three of them are there. Father, Son, Holy Spirit. And so um, Jesus was tempted by sin, the Bible also talks about that he was perfect. He didn't give into that. So I think there's a difference between um, having a lustful thought and then not going down that route versus yeah, not
Hmm.
going down that route, because the Bible does talk about that Jesus was tempted with everything, right?
Right.
Hmm.
But he was perfect. So
So
just
maybe
because you
so
have a
lust
lot,
is not the sin itself, it's the reaction to lust that is the
exactly. Yeah, exactly. And I have
Mm.
this
that's
same
Well,
the giving
wait,
stance.
into.
wait, 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 wait. So God says if you, or Jesus says if you have a lustful thought, that's the same thing as the act.
Ah, well, then I stand corrected.
I
Well, maybe God
I
doesn't
would
have
need a
those.
little bit more
I
insight
would
on
say if
that
God
because
is
there,
meaning, he doesn't have,
I don't think it's
that'd be a
uh
negative virtue.
like for example like having a having like there is temptation. You cannot control temptation. Like if you have temptation to go have an affair, but then you don't,
Right. That's
that
the very stoic philosophy, like
but
you can
So,
only control what you can
yeah,
control. You can't control external events. You can
yeah,
so,
the
control,
disciples talked about sin and not giving into it all the time,
yeah.
you know.
Well, there's the, yeah, it got deep, guys. Like, meaning is the base element of everything, which is God. And
And Chris, I
then,
also want to look at because yeah, the Bible does talk a lot about jealous and anger, but I want to look at a couple more commentaries when when it talks about like anger and jealousy because I
so
don't know if it would
sure,
be
but I wasn't referring to Jesus again. I was referring to the Old Testament.
okay.
You
Then
know,
yeah, but even still, then I still would like to look at that.
sure, it's things, destroying Sodom and Gomorrah, but that's for
Right.
different reasons than people think. Um, for the being angry, I guess the first time God was angry was with Egypt.
Or Adam and Eve,
No,
maybe.
yeah, he cast them
Egypt.
out of the garden.
No, I don't think he experienced anger there, but
Really?
uh, um, I believe it's in Exodus where it first discusses God's anger.
And I wouldn't say lust is an emotion. I don't think that
Hmm.
Mm,
anger.
See, I do think lust is an emotion, just not for women, but it's lusting after anything.
Well, that's a
Money,
sin.
power. I believe that's an emotion, no?
I don't think so.
As an emotional response.
Lust,
No.
well, there's
Like
envy and then there's gluttony.
happiness, anger, joy, like those things are like emotions,
Those are the
you know.
positive virtues.
Um, and but again, I on God in the Old Testament, I would like to once I get to the Old Testament, I want to look at I have two commentaries and I like to research a little bit more
But
about
do you
because
think,
it
do
does.
you guys think from a Christian perspective, God can be meaning? Meaning itself?
I don't know what that means.
Just
What do you mean
anything
by
that,
that?
just meaning. Everything that gives meaning to everything. Meaning itself is, how would you define meaning? That which makes everything make sense. I don't know how you define meaning, but God, maybe it's one of those words you can't define. I don't know. I just think it's not incongruent with any religious dogma because they all say the same thing basically. But to your point, the only slight difference is in this case, God wanted to. So God didn't need to. Maybe this is. God didn't need to experience himself, but he wanted to. And he used us. He used consciousness to be able to experience himself.
Yeah, yeah. I would probably stick to the what I had said before that. Yeah, God's a relational God, and He wanted to be in relationship, and um, not that He was lonely. I don't think I would like call it that, but that He wanted, yeah, to be in relationship.
I
Because
get so
if you
lonely.
think like if you do believe in God, that's perfect, already stable, more than stable, didn't lack anything. He doesn't need human nature, you know. But to me, like that's how much more I'm like, wow, how cool is that? God didn't need me or you or all of us and all this chaos that all this
Yeah, but he
is.
wanted us.
Yeah. And all he asks is that we believe in him and have a personal relationship with him.
Well, that's where
And
it
then,
goes kind of left. But yeah, I mean,
well, I don't know left, but yeah, that I
well,
mean,
that's where everyone
to
starts to
get to
argue.
heaven
That's
for
where
sure.
everyone starts to argue. But
Well,
before
that's a
that,
second point of the first argument is there a God, and then it's is
yeah,
there Christianity? Is Jesus the Son of God?
yeah, the part is there a God? There's less arguments because God is pretty ambiguous with how you define it. But after that, I guess atheists still have a problem with that. The more precise you get on each level, the more arguments you get. So, you know,
Yes, yeah, yeah.
that's the thing.
Which that to me, and not that we have to talk about this, but that that's what I mean. Yeah, these are big questions. You know, I mean, yeah, I think,
Oh, they
and I
got
think
big
it's a
answers. I think the answers
yeah.
are in Chris's inbox with the Pinterest.
Hmm. Well, here's what Aquinas
Three
says.
nines upside down, baby.
So have you read Aquinas, Dan? You're into
Thomas
philosophy.
Aquinas, yeah, he was
Freaking
the
Dan,
Catholic, yeah,
my
he's
man.
next, actually, he's like coming up next in the queue. I haven't read
Well,
him, but I read of him through other books.
here's what he says. Aquinas says the sin of lust is of voluptuous emotions and makes the point that sexual pleasures unloosen the human spirit and set aside right reason.
Well, we opened the show and
Well,
ended
that
it
doesn't
on
mean
the
that
same
lust
note.
isn't.
No, I agree. But I mean, there's all kinds of things that you could argue. Are they
I
emotions?
don't
Like,
think God needs sexual pleasure.
is desire an emotion?
No.
Well, according to the
Mm,
AI, it says desire can be considered both an emotion and a feeling.
well, I think we have
Yeah.
to
It desires,
separate,
yeah.
emotions from
And wait,
virtue.
I'm sorry. Just lust is a much stronger or more powerful desire. That's what lust is. It's gone
Yeah.
above and beyond.
Well, we
Yeah.
have to separate emotions from virtues.
But emotions
Because
here, I just looked at ChatGPT. Happiness, sadness, fear, anger, surprised, and disgust. I mean, those are, I mean,
hmm,
uh, uh,
so then
for
lust is
me
not.
growing up my whole life, those are like emotions, you
Those are
know?
universal
Um,
emotions. Because there are some people
yeah,
that don't
yeah,
have sexual desires, and so I guess that's not universal if not everyone has it.
yeah,
The
yeah.
Stoics thought there was only four virtues:
No,
truth,
Chris, I definitely
justice, courage,
100%
wisdom.
think that, yeah, you know, lust is, if you give into lust, that's a sin for sure. You know, I'm not necessarily, you know, but
Yeah, so delete your inbox.
I think,
Yeah,
That's
ha
the.
ha ha. You're funny. To think
um,
someone is pretty is not lust.
You want to take it up with the man upstairs?
Yeah, I would happily argue that.
I'll sit that one out.
our next podcast, I actually on this, I have, you know, we can talk about like gay stuff.
Oh, hell
Mm.
no. Count me out of that shit.
Well, no, not gay stuff. Oh gosh, this is gonna get me in trouble. Just
You,
like
Dan, did you send Joey that clip you sent me yesterday? Send it to him.
Which one? Oh,
please,
I'll send
please
it to
don't,
you. I'll
please
send it to
don't.
you.
But
Yeah, no,
no
you'd like it.
backdoor stuff. Okay, yeah, give me.
All
But
right,
this was good,
well,
guys. This was good.
yeah, we could go
Like,
on
subscribe,
forever.
follow, share. Right?
Comment. But
Oh,
yeah,
dang it! I'm almost there,
like,
guys.
subscribe, comment, share,
Share.
because I guess the following doesn't matter because subscribing is following. So,
You
yeah,
know what I'm saying?
like, subscribe, comment, share, guys. Bye bye.
Bye bye.